All right, welcome. Thank you all so much for being here today. We're so grateful for you taking a few minutes out of your day. You know, it's always difficult at times to make live events, but we really appreciate you being in attendance, and hopefully you can take advantage of the live Q&A that we'll have towards the end, and also see a live demo of our platform. We will have a recording and a copy of the presentations out to you shortly after the presentation today, so look forward to that in your inbox. First, we're excited to present to you on our newly released analytics software that is part of Avenue's ERP solution suite called Clearview Valuation Analytics. Clearview Valuation Analytics is a GIS-based analytic toolset that provides assessors and appraisers with the data and analytics they need to ensure a fair valuation process for their constituents. So with that, I'd like to briefly introduce our guest speakers today. First, my name is Brennan Middleton. I'm a part of the marketing team here at Avenue. I'll be your host and moderator. I'll also be facilitating many of those questions that you may have, comments, feedback, anything that you would like for us to address. Please do leave that here in the question and answer feature here in the Teams application, and we'll address those immediately following the presentation. So first, we're honored to have with us Chris Gayrick, who is with the Timmins Group. We'll speak a bit more on the Timmins Group here in a minute, but the Timmins Group briefly provides GIS and geospatial technology services, and they have partnered with us to develop Clearview Valuation Analytics. Chris is the Director of Enterprise Solutions and focuses on creatively solving technical and geospatial challenges for governments of all sizes. Chris brings a deep and comprehensive knowledge of Esri, open source, with a focus on advanced solutions for local governments. He and his team pride themselves on developing intuitive solutions that generate a return on investment for clients. Welcome, Chris, and thank you for being an incredible partner. We know CVA will be a game changer for our clients. Thanks so much for joining us here today.
Yeah, thanks, Brennan. Excited to be here.
Awesome. So next, Avenue's business unit leader for our finance, tax, and valuation group, Amy Walters. Amy's bringing more than 20 years experience in federal, state, and local government. She has an extensive background in GIS mapping, which includes data development, analysis, and application development. Over the past 10 years, she's worked for and in partnership with a majority of the major providers of tax and CAMA solutions for state and local governments. Welcome, Amy, and thanks for doing this.
Thanks, Brennan. Happy to be here.
And lastly, but certainly not least, I'd like to introduce one of my good friends, Al Ailes, Senior Client Executive in Avenue's Finance, Tax, and Valuation Group. Al is bringing with him over 18 years experience in state and local government. He's a certified project manager who has implemented large-scale applications across the globe. He's a frequent speaker and trainer and specializes in forming strategic alliances and programs that add value to the customer relationship. Prior to Avenue, he led operations in a southern region for a large multinational property tax and appraisal solution provider. Al, welcome. Thanks for doing this.
Thanks for having me.
Next, before we dive in, we'll review what we'll cover today. First, Al's going to provide us with an overview of Clearview Valuation Analytics and what the key features are that we'll highlight in our demo. Next, we'll discuss how this GIS-based toolset is configurable with any CAMA system and how it is enabling jurisdictions to improve their transparency to its constituents. Following the overview and background, Amy and Chris will walk us through a live demo. We'll dive right into the platform where we'll go over several features that include, one, the selection of custom property criteria, and we'll also perform a comparative analysis. Next, they're going to highlight the utilization of an embedded GIS module with a bidirectional CAMA sync that makes for a seamless integration with any system that you're currently using. Next, we'll review instant property filtering and thematic mapping, and we'll follow up with the importance of mobile on-demand readiness. Lastly, Al's going to cover what next steps look like and what success looks like for using CVA in your jurisdiction. And as I mentioned before, we'll take advantage of the last 10 to 12 minutes to answer any comments, questions, feedback that you may have. So please utilize that question and answer feature here in the platform. Really quickly, before Al jumps into the overview, for many of you that may not know the background of Avenue and Timmins, Avenue's partnered with Timmins to develop CVA. But Avenue specifically partners with over 3,000 local governments agencies nationwide. We work with state and local officials to deliver software and services that enhance revenue and optimize operations. As you can see here in this list of vertical solution areas, Our revenue enhancement and administrative solutions help leaders at every level of local government establish better relationships with their communities, therefore making it easier for them to drive results for the citizens they serve. And secondly, I think it goes without saying that for the past 25 years, the Timmons Group has been an industry-leading geospatial and application solution provider to state and local governments. Again, their vertical solution areas span across geospatial integration, data science and analytics, cloud consulting, managed services and support, and even roadmap consulting. So we're extremely excited about this partnership, and we're really grateful for Chris and his team to join us today. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to Al Ailes, who will give us an overview.
Thanks so much, Brennan, and welcome. I guess I have the unique opportunity to kick things off and close them out after everybody goes through all the hard work, and Amy and Chris give you the demo. Brennan kind of set things off here by talking about the Timmons relationship with Avenue, and really what we wanted to do was to fill a gap. And our overview here is nothing more than telling you just how we came about developing this tool. Working with appraisers and assessors just like yourself and forming those partnerships to fill a need. One, we wanted a quick and easy way to find comparable sales, bring up those comp sales in a very intuitive manner, show you not only property data, but images, and show you a number of ways to see that information on thematic maps. And when Chris goes through the demo, you're going to see that in greater detail. It's GIS-based, and taking the GIS data and the mapping data and overlaying it onto your CAMA information gives you really detailed information that's not only zoomable and scalable within the application, but gives you a way to see detail down to a road, a neighborhood, a district, or your jurisdiction in its entirety. Taking that sales analysis, looking at the sales trends and sales information that's added from your camera system to this product, and taking that information into consideration when we create our mapping, we'll show you, Chris will show you heat maps where you can see sales trends, and you'll start to see those outliers and the sales that don't quite match up with the other sales in your jurisdiction. Perhaps it's a family transaction, the owners are father and son, whatever the case may be. You'll be able to see those outliers, not include them in your comparables to make sure that you have the most accurate comparable and sales analysis data out there. And once again, we seamlessly integrate the CAMA and GIS mapping, and we'll show you exactly what we're talking about when we look at those maps, and Chris goes through those maps in detail. It's a good looking product, and I'm glad you guys took a few minutes today just to take a look at it. So if we can. So I mentioned who we worked with, our partners, our assessor and appraisal partners to create this. This was not a tool that was developed for any other reason other than a sales ratio and a comp tool to be able to help you understand and give you different views of your data. It's a robust query tool. You'll see some queries and searches that you're able to do, save those searches, look at the information in a number of different ways. It really just wants to provide you as much information as we can in a very clear and concise format. Why? The why is, of course, we wanted to verify our valuations. As with anything, more data will give us more accuracy. And that was really the intent of our solution here, is to give you as much information as we could to verify the valuations that you and your team members are going out and assessing in the jurisdiction. Ensuring fair and equitable values, really key to maintaining the continuity of the assessments that go out from the office. And this will give you all the data to be able to make sure that you're providing those fair and equitable values. We use your CAMA data. This isn't a separate database. It's not a separate set of information that's built in here. We're taking your data and overlaying it, excuse me, using it throughout the application. And we're able to seamlessly map your data and analyze the results from that. So taking your information from your database, and we'll talk about the CAMA systems. We're CAMA agnostic. We can use any CAMA system and still utilize this Clearview Valuation Analytics tool to integrate your information into a mapping and thematic format and search, query that information, and filter the results. From a technology standpoint, it's a fully hosted cloud-based solution. It makes it real easy to stand up. We have a great team that works and supports this tool specifically in a cloud-based environment. Your upgrades are included. As with any cloud-based solution, we're going to keep the product up to date for you. We're going to go out and make sure that any updates or releases to the product are automatically installed, and it'll be seamless from your end as you view this from a web browser, a mobile browser, or wherever you have the ability to look at the product. It's going to be based on a subscription service. So monthly installments, if that's your choice, or we can work on how the subscription will be managed. But really, it makes it it's a very affordable and very easy system to integrate into your current budget and the current needs of the county or jurisdiction you're working with. Instant customer service. There's no question of being able to look at the same thing when it's hosted in a cloud environment, right? When you call for service, should you have a question, you reach out to one of our team members. They can bring up the same information and look at the same data that you are, because it's a hosted and cloud-based environment. So there's never a question of not being able to duplicate the results. It's working with our partners at Esri, of course, taking that GIS information and overlaying it and utilizing your CAMA data to integrate with GIS and Esri for the maps that you're going to see here when I kick it off to Chris shortly. And once again, CAMA agnostic. While I'd love to see everybody using our CAMA products, Clearview Valuation Manager, of course, being our latest, it is CAMA agnostic in that it would integrate with any CAMA system or any CAMA program that you're currently working with. I think this is the point where I kick it off to Chris for, we stop talking about it in slides and we start seeing the product live. So Chris.
All right, thanks, Al. I'm going to go ahead and start the demonstration part of this webinar. So like Al mentioned, I'm going to jump right in and introduce you all to CVA. So once I fire up the application, what you'll see is a login screen. I'm going to go ahead and log in to the application. Once I've logged in, I'm brought to my dashboard, and this contains two lists on the left side navigation panel. The first list, displayed by default, is the list of property sets. Those are sets that I've previously created and are used within CVA, and we'll come back to that. But I can view the date these property sets were created. I can delete those, or I can open those directly from the dashboard. I can also toggle over to the sales ratio list and see a list of previously completed sales ratio studies, which I'll go into more detail later in the demo. For now, I won't open a saved property set, but instead I'll go directly to the map to demonstrate how you can curate your own property set to be used for further analysis within the CVA application. On the map, you'll notice a bunch of various size green dots. These are clusters of properties that I'll break apart as you zoom in. So you'll notice on this one, there's 922 properties under this green dot. You'll notice also up near the top left of the screen, there are 19,614 properties within the county that CVA is using currently. I'm going to go ahead and filter the properties on the map to only show properties valued between $200,000 and $300,000. All right, after applying this filter, you'll notice that 882 properties remain. I'll further refine my filter to only include properties within Canton Township. So I can scroll down here to, under property filters, under city town, and pick Canton Township. And then I can click apply. and you'll notice that the filter results are down to 28, and you'll notice the dots on the screen here represent the properties. So I'll go ahead and click on a cluster here and zoom down to the map. So this cluster has 4 properties within it. When I click zoom, you'll notice that there's 4 dots. I'll go ahead and click a point and view the details of that property. And you can see there's a photo with some details, and then if I click view details, I can get a property card, and that's going to contain all the information that Al was mentioning in terms of CAMA, the details in the CAMA database. Now I'm going to save my property set by clicking the Save New Property button, or Save New Property Set button up top. I'm going to go ahead and call this Canton Township 200 to 300K. I'll go ahead and click Save. And then once I navigate back to the dashboard, you'll notice that that property set, which I've curated, is in my list on my dashboard. I can click Open here, and you'll see that my saved filters have been persisted exactly as I saved those. So you'll notice the sales price range in the city of Canton Township. And I can go ahead and now clear the filters and zoom back out to the county extent. So that's a way to curate your own property set to be used within the application. So I'll go ahead and clear that and zoom back out. Now I'm going to demonstrate the thematic mapping functionality within the site. So let me go ahead and zoom back out to the county extent. So the thematic mapping feature within CVA is a really powerful mapping feature. It enables you to visualize, thematically map or visualize ranges for any variable within your CAMA database. So I'll go ahead and click thematic mapping here. And I'll select neighborhood as my first attribute. So you'll notice in this list, there are a number of attributes directly from the CAMA database that I can thematically map on. So I'm going to go ahead and click neighborhood here, or select neighborhood. And you'll notice that the entire county is mapped based on neighborhood. If I click on a legend swatch, the first one here, you can actually change the color to something different. So let's say I want to use a red color here. You'll notice this block over here changed color. So it's an easy way to thematically map your county or based on attributes. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to load my previous property set, which I created, the Canton Township $200,000 to $300,000 range property set. So once I load those, you'll notice that only Canton Township properties fitting my save filter are thematically mapped. So then I can change. You notice obviously these are all within the same township, so they're all themed the same color. I can go ahead and change this now to sales price. And I can also change the swatches here to change the range of colors. So let's say I want to change it between a green and a blue. You'll notice that that changes the color set. And I can also click on one of these properties and get the exact sales price. So the range between $200,000 and $300,000 is mapped based on color here. This is towards the upper range, $288,000. So you'll notice that. I can also adjust the range, and you'll notice that properties begin to disappear from the map based on sales price. So that concludes the demonstration for the mapping portion. Now what I'd like to do is take you guys over to the sales ratio module. So the sales ratio module, this is the layout, and what you'll notice on the upper or the left side is the parameters input. So So once in the sales ratio tool, I can choose a property set that I created. So I'm going to go ahead and choose the Preston property set. Next, I'll want to select a year to pull the estimated market values for our properties. So I'm going to go ahead and choose 2019. Now I'll choose a date range for the sales to run. For this analysis, I'll choose sales from January of 2017 to January of 2018. If I want, I can choose to hide outliers, but for this first go around, I'll include outliers. I'll also include a time adjustment rate with a monthly adjustment of 2%. I'll set our adjust to date to the same January 2018 date. Next, I'll scroll down here to view the stratification variables. We can choose several variables in which we'd like to stratify by. For this demo, we'll choose property type as well as water status. We can also choose the order for the stratification. For now, I'm going to keep those as in this default order, with property set to 1 and water status to 2. I'm going to go ahead and click the Run Analysis. We now have our results. As you can see, the outliers are highlighted with a red box. In this list view, we can see the original net sales price, the time adjusted price, the estimated market value, and the sales ratio for each sale in our set. We can also scroll over and see the property type, the water status, and the city or town for the property that the sale is associated with. Now, clicking on the map toggle will bring up a chloropleth map of the parcel boundaries. So zoomed out, we see the clusters of the parcel, similar to the mapping demo I just went through. As I zoom in, I see the clusters start to break apart. And they'll be color-coded based on the sales ratio value. If I open up a legend, I can see the sales ratio value. I can also go up to full screen here and view just the map. You'll notice that the outliers will have a red border, and if I select a parcel, I can view those details and specifically access the sales ratio. I'm going to go ahead and take this out of full screen view. Next, we can view some graphs for this analysis. So the first plot here is a histogram of the ratios. This helps the user to understand the distribution of the sales ratios. We can also choose to view a time trending plot with the inverse sales ratio on the y-axis and the analysis month on the x-axis. We can click on individual points in the plot to bring up the property ID of that point. You'll see here. And we can bring up the details on that piece of property. We can also choose to see the property on the map. And what this will do is zoom into that specific property directly from the graph. So I'm going to scroll down here and we can look at the summary statistics. So this is a list view of the aggregated summary statistics grouped by the stratification variables that we picked. Here you can see things like mean and median sales ratios for each grouping. We can also choose to view additional graphs in this portion of the page. Here, the first plot is the scatter plot of the sales ratios versus the log proxy value. From the drop-down, we can choose to take a look at the box plots for each stratification group. This helps us to visualize the distribution of sales ratios for each stratification. We also have included a number of different bar charts in this tool, such as the bar chart that shows the median ratio for each group. This concludes our demo for the sales ratio tool. And what we'll do now is go into the comparative sales analysis tool. All right, so the comparative sales analysis tool, again, very map-centric. And what I can do here is you'll notice on the left the same kind of paradigm where you can enter your parameters. So I'm going to go ahead and select a subject property. All right, and then I can go ahead and select the max number of comparative properties I'd like to see. For this analysis, I'm going to enter 20 comparative properties, which is about the max. Then I can select, or if we choose, I can apply filters to filter down the properties, kind of like we did on the mapping page. So here I'll filter to select comparatives that are residential, just like my subject. And I can click Run. Then I can click on the Comparative Parameters toggle. For this demo, I'll choose to compare on the effective year built. So I can scroll down here. Again, these are all variables from the CAMA database. I can choose effective year built. I'm going to choose land value. I'm going to choose the property's location and then also the sales price. Location and then sales price. I'll also select vacant or improvement. You'll notice that there's ranks right next to each of the variables. I'll keep the sales price ranked as number 1, as I feel for this analysis it's the most important attribute to compare on. I'll also leave land value ranked as number 1. We'll then choose rank number 2 for effective year built, and rank 3 for vacant or improvement. Finally, I'll set the location to rank 4. Setting the ranks will adjust the weights of our chosen attributes when calculating the comparative scales. So now with all the parameters chosen, I'm going to select Run, so I can run the analysis. Once the analysis is run, our results will show up as cards below with our subject property shown first. So while this runs, I'll kind of lay out what you'll see. You will see your subject property on the far left, and then you'll see 20 cards of comparables. Now this takes a few seconds as it's crunching through the different rankings that we've established and doing the analysis. So that, like I mentioned, the first card you'll see here is our subject property. So we can click on the details here and view that the subject's details. Next to it, you'll see the comparative cards. So these are the 20 comparatives I've requested. Listed in these cards is a score that compares the comparison property to the subject. So that's down here near the score. So the first comparable has a score of 99.94%, meaning that this is about 99.5, 99.4% similar to our subject property based off the parameters we've selected. If I click on the details of it, we can see that the parameters we compared from are highlighted in blue. So you'll notice these parameters that we picked for comparing are highlighted in blue. The subject's effective year built was 45. The first comparative shown was also built the same year. We can also see that the sales prices are similar. So now let's minimize the card results and instead look at the results on the map. On the map, the subject property is highlighted in green. The comparatives are color-coded based off the score. Strong comparatives are a yellow color, while weaker comparatives are shown in the purple color. You also notice that the colors are actually correspond to the corner of each of the cards. I can also manually add or remove comparatives to my results. If I select one of my current comparatives, I can click to remove it as a comp. So I'll go ahead and click this. And you'll notice there's a remove as comp example. So I can remove that comparative. I can also click on a parcel and choose to add it as a comp. I'll go ahead and choose this one, add as a comp. You'll notice that it turns purple, and it will be added onto as one of the cards at the end. Clicking parcels will also show the property ID of that parcel, the sales price, and when it was last sold. You can also access the details of each of the cards directly from the map. So this concludes the functionality of CVA. It's kind of a high-level view, but hopefully you get a good glimpse of the product's functionality. With that, I'm going to turn it back to Al to wrap it up.
Thank you, Chris. Appreciate you walking through all the aspects of the tool there. I'm going to switch things back over to the PowerPoint presentation for a little bit, and then we're gonna get you guys out of here. We're just wrapping up. So really wanted to take a few minutes and talk through what does success look like in your jurisdiction. Again, we integrate directly with CAMA USA. We integrate directly with Clearview Valuation Manager and any CAMA system. So if you aren't using our products, I understand. I don't have to like it. I understand. I'd love to see if you are upgrading your CAMA solution, please consider CVA as a valuable part of that upgrade. Enable appraisal teams to find quality comparable sales, just as Chris showed you. Those comp cards, it comes up, shows you where they are in the neighborhood, gives you a value of great from yellow to maybe not the greatest comp in purple, giving you that thematic map and allowing you to quickly find comparable sales is valuable. Giving you a foundation, it's a strong foundation should you have additional needs going forward in the future. And I'd love to talk to you if there's items that you'd like to see or sales ratio information that we're not capturing in here. I'd love to talk to you more about building that on and building onto our product. Reducing time, really taking into account everybody's time is valuable. Reducing the time spent making equitable valuation decisions and giving you as much information at your fingertips to make those decisions as we can. And from all of us here, we truly believe it's the best in class solution for analytics. So thank you very much for joining us. I think I'm going to turn it over to Brennan for a Q&A session, but truly appreciate your time.
Excellent. Al, Chris, Amy, thank you all. That was fantastic, Chris. Wonderful demo. Al, thank you for setting the stage there for the demo and recapping what next steps look like at the end. Really briefly, let's just jump right in. We've got several questions coming in. Again, you can use that Q&A feature here in the Teams application to submit those. Doesn't necessarily have to be a direct question. Please, we're excited about this product, as you can tell, but we're always open to feedback, comments, questions, evaluation that you've had today on what we can possibly improve, but also what you're looking to get out of this product for your jurisdiction. So first one that came through while the demo was going on, Chris, and this may be for you. It says, how does the installation work? And then second part to that question is consideration around my IT team. It says, what would my IT staff have to be heavily involved in the installation?
Sure, yeah, Brendan, this is a cloud-based solution. You can think of it as a software as a service. So kind of the beauty of the solution is that your IT staff is minimally involved. We at Avenue and Timmons maintain and support the solution remotely. Since it is cloud-based, there's no deployment that needs to happen. You don't need to bring your IT group in to deploy the application or databases or anything related. It's a simple subscription where we do have to integrate with your CAMA database, but that is a pretty seamless process and does not require really much investment from your IT group in terms of time.
And piggybacking on that question, one that came in from a different user right after that was time oriented. How long is the typical implementation for this product, and what would that look like?
I can grab this one, Chris. I think it's right now, and I probably should have included that. That's a real big value add feature for the product, in that it's a 4 to 6 week implementation. Because it's a cloud-based solution, because we're using this as software as a service or SaaS, it's a quick implementation. We just need time to integrate your property records, your property information, and those images into the system. But 4 to 6 weeks is an accurate representation of what it would take to stand up CVA in your jurisdiction.
Great. Very quick. Very quick. All right. A more pointed question here around pricing and cost. How is pricing determined for my jurisdiction? It says.
Well, pricing starts with giving me a call, and we can talk through what your needs are. But specifically, it's gonna directly relate to the number of parcels that you have. So we'll take a look and size up your database, and I can quickly turn around pricing for you of what it'll look like based on the number of parcels.
Excellent. Last one that we have so far, I think, is related to the environment that we're sort of operating in, given the pandemic and the remote work and working from home and the way our lives are being changed in the new normal. But it says, accessing of data, like, can I access the data that you're showing me today when I'm not in the office?
Yeah, as Chris mentioned earlier, right? That's the real value here in having it as a cloud-based service. So all it is your ability to access a browser. I'm going to give you credentials, and you'll log in. So that's no matter where you are. So if you do find yourself working remotely, if you're out in the field and you have a mobile device, it's your ability to access a web browser and to log into the system. So yeah, the beauty of it is it's definitely scalable across wherever you are. If you're in the office, if you're not working in the office, if you're working in another jurisdiction, you can still bring up your system.
Great. A couple comments here before we wrap up, and we'll give a couple folks some time to submit any additional questions. But one of the comments came through and said, Chris, thanks for a detailed demo. Thank you for taking your time, and excellent demo. One of the best I've seen. Second one was, Al, thanks for outlining what next steps look like. I'll definitely be in touch. So that sort of segues into the wrap up here. And if there were questions that you have after we get done today, please don't hesitate to reach out. You can reach out to our main point of contact, Al, you heard from today. He's our senior client executive. His contact information will be here. It'll also be provided in the recap communication that will get out to you shortly after we get done today, with a recording of this document and the actual PowerPoint slides that you can go through at your leisure. And it will have all the contact information there for our internal points of contact. But again, like we started off today, thanks again for taking a few minutes today. I know it's always hard to make live events. Hopefully you found it beneficial to see the presentation and a live demo. We'll get that recording and materials out to you very shortly. If you have questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. We're grateful. We look forward to speaking with you soon, and wish everybody well. Thank you.
Thanks much.